I want to talk about the biggest lie in the modern workforce, the junior job. It's a joke, but nobody's laughing except maybe the HR software that auto rejects your resume before a human even sees it. You've all seen the postings: title, junior associate, salary, entry level. Requirements: 5 years of industry experience, a master's degree, and proficiency in the software that was only invented 3 years ago. It's 2026, and the bridge between education and employment hasn't just burned down. It's been gated off with a members only sign. Whenever a company asks for half a decade of experience for a starting position, remember, they aren't looking for a junior, they're looking for a senior they can underpay. It's not a career ladder anymore, it's a vertical glass wall, and we're all standing at the bottom being told we just aren't climbing hard enough. We aren't applicants to them, we're just data points in the talent shortage narrative they created themselves. The punchline of this job market is the experience tax. It's the price you pay for the crime of being new. You spend years and probably thousands of dollars getting the right skills, only to find out that the goalposts were moved while you were running. Companies love to complain that nobody wants to work, but what they mean is nobody with 10 years of experience is willing to work for 45K a year. They want you to come pre-programmed. They've offloaded the cost of training onto the individual. Why would they invest in a junior and teach them the ropes when they can just wait for a desperate mid-level worker to cave under the pressure of inflation? They profit off your desperation. They realize that if they keep the requirements impossibly high, they can keep you in a constant state of feeling unqualified, which makes you a lot easier to exploit once you finally do get through the door. Your lack of a 5-year portfolio isn't a failure of your work ethic, it's their tool for suppression. There was this one Tuesday, I was sitting in my room, applying for my 400th job of the month. I found a posting that was literally labeled starting role. I checked the boxes, I had the degree, I had the internship, I had the drive. Then I scrolled down to the fine print. Must have 5 to 7 years of direct industry experience. I stared at the screen and realized the math didn't even work. To have 5 years of experience at 22, I would have had to start working in that field while I was still in high school. I looked at the apply button, and for a second, I felt like I was hallucinating. I realized the system isn't looking for talent, it's looking for a miracle that's willing to work for peanuts. I realized I wasn't failing at a career, I was being gaslit by a PDF. I stayed up until 3 a.m. rewriting my resume for the 10th time that week. But that was the day the hope started to sour. You can't win a game where the rules are designed to keep you from even stepping onto the field. The job hunt thrives on the algorithm state. It's the black hole of the applicant tracking system. You spend hours tailoring your cover letter, matching keywords, and formatting your life into a machine readable script, only to be rejected in zero point 0.4 seconds because you didn't have the specific years of experience number in the right column. So I'm tired of being told to network by people who got their jobs in 1998 by walking in and shaking a hand. In 2026, your personality doesn't matter if you don't pass the bot's gatekeeping. They treat potential talent like spam. It's dehumanizing to have your entire worth as a professional discarded by a line of code because you haven't spent 5 years doing a job you're literally applying for right at the start. They want innovators, but their hiring process is a scripted robotic filter that kills any spark of originality before it hits an inbox. The corporate talk about investing in the future only goes one way. When they want to look good for investors, they're empowering the next generation. When you ask for a chance to prove yourself, suddenly there's a hiring freeze, or we're looking for someone who can hit the ground running. It's a hierarchy of scarcity. They want you to feel lucky just to get an interview for an unpaid internship. I saw a posting recently for an entry level role that requires a PhD and expert level leadership skills. And that's just corporate code for we want a specialist at a discount. It's insulting. My potential isn't a liability. It's exhausting to be told you lack experience by a company that refuses to provide any. They'd rather leave a position vacant for 6 months searching for a unicorn than spend 6 weeks training a human being. And what happens when you finally do get an interview? You jump through the hoops, you do the personality tests, the one-way video interviews when you talk to a camera, and maybe even a free test project. And then, the silence. The ghosting is the final punchline. The recruiter who called you a perfect fit won't even send a template email to say they went with someone else. You realize that to them. You weren't a person with bills and dreams. You were just a candidate, a disposable resource. Once they find their 5-year veteran willing to work for pennies, you cease to exist. It's a cold realization that the talent war is a myth. There is no war for talent. There's only a war on the barrier to entry. All the talk about company culture is just a way to see if you'll smile while I ask for the impossible. I'm not saying there are no good jobs out there, but the system of entry level hiring is fundamentally broken. It doesn't reward potential, it rewards a lucky start or a willingness to be undervalued. So, protect your mental health. You're more than your LinkedIn profile. You have value the bot can't calculate and a years of experience requirement can't define. So, with that, I invite you to leave a comment with the most ridiculous entry level requirement you've ever seen. Let's expose the joke. We don't have to pretend it's normal here. So, with that, I'll also see you in the next one. Stay lost, but at the same time, we stay together.